word you use?
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Spoilers. Spoilers. Spoilers. Spoilers. I like that word.
I thought you might.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Missing Presumed Lost, and today we journey across the stars to Galaxy 4. Now I would actually like to start with something of a small apology, because those who have watched my top 10 missing stories will know that Galaxy 4 took the number 5 spot in that list for reasons that I couldn't quite explain, but I actually described it as fantastic. Well, in re-watching this story to do this review, I actually found that my memories of enjoying it as much didn't seem to be as true as I remembered. So I'm sorry, I have to say here and now that it is not fantastic. It's not bad, but it's really not as good as I remembered. Previously a completely missing story, episode 3, Airlock, was rediscovered in 2011 and was released along with a minimal reconstruction on the Aztec Special Edition DVD. Plagued by on-set disputes and also having been originally written for Ian, Barbara and Vicky, this story required a hasty rewrite, making this a classic example of a story that could have been great, but fell very short of the mark. We are once again back with a 4-parter, and as I have previously mentioned in other reviews, when it comes to classic stories, this is never a bad thing, and in this instance, this story is no exception. But in this instance, it's mainly a good thing, because it means this story doesn't go on for too long. And in a way, it's also good that this story is missing because I struggled to get through it, and for once, not because it was a stills reconstruction. It's not a bad story per se. In fact, it does have a very good moral plot point of don't judge a book by its cover, with the monstrous looking Rills being friendly and compassionate, whilst the more humanoid looking Dravins are cloned soldiers presided over by the warlike Marga. And of course, we couldn't talk about this episode without referencing the strange, yet endearing Chumblies. However, for me, one of the more interesting parts of this story is its subtext directed at women. Whilst I'm sure the original idea was never intended to be offensive, the portrayal of the Dravins as slow-witted and dim without leadership, specifically bred to be slaves and obey the higher classes, it certainly does stop and make you think. However, on the side of balance, it is worth mentioning that the higher classes of Dravins were also female, and it could be debated whether this interpretation of the subtext is in fact there or not. Nonetheless, it can't be ignored that Doctor Who, especially in its earlier episode, was known to show outdated attitudes. And even if there wasn't any intended subtext, Galaxy 4 is still a story that gives you pause for thought. There isn't a huge amount of trivia to go with this story, however something that is worth mentioning, which is something that I touched on earlier, was the amount of trouble and conflict surrounding this story. As previously mentioned, due to the fact that this story was originally written for Ian, Barbara and Vicky, this required a hasty rewrite, which led to many of Barbara's lines being given to Stephen. This resulted in a feminization of the character with which Peter Purves was not happy. And he wasn't the only one. Due to the troubles surrounding the story, none of the stars were particularly happy with it, and things got so heated to a point where later producer Peter Wiles actually threatened to sack William Hartnell. And after Maureen O'Brien made several complaints, Wiles dismissed her, leading to the character's departure in The Mythmakers. A situation made even worse by Wiles not telling O'Brien that she was to be let go, a fact she only discovered to her horror when she returned from holiday to find that Vicky was being written out. So this isn't a great story. The writing for the characters is off, the pacing is out of sync with its action, what little there is of it, and overall this probably isn't a story that many fans would want to see reconstructed for release. But for that reason, I think it deserves a reconstruction. I know, that sounds like one hell of a contradiction, but here's my thinking. We already have 1 complete episode, so that leaves 3 to be reconstructed. And whilst there are stories I would far rather see animated for release before this one, so far as this story goes, it wouldn't be a bad idea to use it as a test run to judge the market for current releases. Or perhaps try a new style of animation, or even release it as part of a double release box set similar to The Rescue and The Romans, with a DVD of the next mini-episode, Mission to the Unknown. Or perhaps, as I know it's a story that many fans want to see, and given that all the stories are linked together in a way, release it as a triple release box set, similar to the Beginnings box set, with Galaxy 4, The Mythmakers, and the Daleks Master Plan, with Mission to the Unknown as a special feature on the Galaxy 4 DVD. The latter seems like a better option, as the sales would probably be better and a box set could command a higher price. And it would also give fans stories they do want, alongside stories that they are perhaps less likely to purchase. So, Galaxy 4. I would never recommend deliberately skipping an episode of Doctor Who. However, if you did miss out this one, you wouldn't be missing much if you did skip it. That being said, however, if you are planning a marathon of missing stories, or one day we do get the Mission to the Unknown, the Mythmakers, and the Daleks Master Plan on DVD, then this is a story that you should watch alongside those. As I said, they are linked in some way. In short, I think this is a story that is very much down to the individual to decide to watch, but for me personally, this probably isn't going to be one I'm going to be rewatching anytime soon. And for those wondering if I had to pick a replacement for my number 5 spot of my top 10 missing stories, well, I'd probably have to go for Marco Polo. And if you want to know why, skip back a few videos to my very first Missing Presumed Lost to watch my review to see exactly why I think that. But that brings to a close another Missing Presumed Lost review Who. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, favorite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot. And be sure to check out the description below for a link to my Patreon. There is an exclusive webcomic and rewards for people who support it, and the funding generated by my Patreon helps me fund future videos. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon.